Pack Attack is back on MLB The Show 23. This is a series I do most years on MLB The Show, and honestly, it's some of the most fun I have. I think it's some of the most fun content I make. And for anyone unfamiliar, the premise is very simple. We start off here with this awful looking team, and the only way that we can upgrade it is by opening packs. And the way that we get those packs is by playing ranked seasons and hitting various statistical goals throughout each game that earns me stubs. We spend those stubs after the game to open packs, and anything we pull that's an upgrade gets added to the squad for the next game. And I think this year, with how Diamond Dynasty works different, it's going to be a little interesting to see how this goes. It's definitely going to be different, especially now that we're going to be facing people right away with potentially all 99 squads. We got the whole sets and seasons thing to worry about later on down the road, but at least so far in the game this year, we're seeing a lot more attention to packs. I mean, we're already on like Diamond Duo Pack 7. They've released a bunch of other special packs, so hopefully we're gonna have a lot of different cards that we can have on this team just through opening packs. So let's get into how things are gonna work. For anybody who watched last year, it's pretty much going to be the exact same. All of the goals, all of the stats are going to be pretty much the same. So let's talk about how we're going to make our stubs in each game, starting with hitting stats. First of all, every run we score is going to be worth 500 stubs. Every total base is going to be worth 200 stubs. So basically, a single is 200, a double is 400, a triple is 600, and a home run would be 800. Every walk is going to be worth 200 stubs. Every hit by pitch is going to be worth 200 stubs. And then we're going to have a home run bonus of 200 stubs added on to that 800 from the 4 total bases. So basically, a home run is going to be worth 1,000 stubs. Every stolen base is going to be worth 200 stubs. Every 5 hits within a game is going to be worth an extra 500 stubs. So a little bonus there for racking up hits. If we have a player hit for the cycle, that's going to be worth 5,000 stubs for that game. If a player has a multi-home run game, that's going to be worth 2,000 stubs. If we hit back-to-back home runs, that's going to be worth 1,000 stubs. And then for each additional home run, like if we go back-to-back-to-back, that'll be an extra 1,000 stubs. If we hit a 4th in a row, that'll be another 1,000 stubs. And then if we score 10 runs in a game, that'll be an extra 3,000 stubs. And then the only negative stubs we can get on the offensive side of things is going to be if we strike out. Every strikeout takes away 100 stubs. And then over to pitching, we got some stubs to make on the rubber too. Every out we record is going to be worth 200 stubs. So basically every inning pitched is worth 600 stubs. Every hit allowed takes away 200. Every walk allowed takes away 200, and every hit by pitch takes away 200. Every run allowed is going to take away 500. Every strikeout, though, is going to add 200 stubs. So basically, a strikeout is kind of worth double. A pickoff or a caught stealing is going to be worth 200 stubs. A shutout is going to be worth 1,500 stubs. A complete game is also going to be worth 1,500 stubs. And then if it's a complete game shutout, that's going to be worth an additional 1,500 stubs. And then real quick to add on to those, in order to qualify for a complete game, the starter has to have thrown 3 full innings pitched. So if like the other guy quits in the middle of the 2nd inning, that doesn't count as a complete game. And then if we throw a no-hitter, that will be worth 5,000 stubs. And if we throw a perfect game, that'll be an additional 5,000 stubs. And then we have a couple of bonuses too for every game. So every win is going to be worth 1,500 stubs. If our opponent quits or if we win by a mercy rule, that will be an additional 1,500 stubs. And then over the course of the year, every 5th win, every 5 wins, that'll be a nice 1,500 stub bonus. And then here's the big one, guys. Every like on the last episode of Pack Attack will be worth 100 stubs towards the next one. So if you guys like this video right now, you're going to be adding 100 stubs towards next episode. So we can already start racking up stubs on next episode's game right now if you hit that like button. And then brand new for this year, I think this is the first change so far, our ranked rating at the end of the game will add that same amount of stubs. So like if we finish the game and our new rating after the game is 360, that'll be an extra 360 stubs added on to the end of the game stub count. And then this is the big one. This was a new addition last year and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was awesome, so we're bringing it back again this year, the multiplier. So how this is gonna work is everything I've talked about already, we add together, we come up with our final stub count at the end of the game, and then that stub count is gonna be multiplied by the multiplier, and whatever the final amount is after it's multiplied will be our final stub count for the game. So this is how the multiplier is going to work. Parallels is going to be the major driving force behind the multiplier. It'll be a nice little, reward for using a player enough to parallel them. So each parallel level will have its own corresponding multiplier. So if we have a card to parallel 1, it's going to add 0.005 onto our multiplier, so it'll just be a 0.5% stub boost for every parallel 1. When you get up to parallel 2 though, it's gonna add 0.015 to the multiplier, so it'll be a 1.5% stub boost. For parallel 3, it'll add 0.03 to the multiplier, so a 3% boost just from one card being to parallel 3. Parallel 4 will be a 0.05, so 5% extra stubs just from every card that's a parallel 4. And then parallel 5 is the big one. We didn't get any players to parallel 5 last year, but if we do, that'll be plus 0.1 to the multiplier, so a full 10% boost to the stub count at the end of a game for any card that's a parallel 5. And this all stacks. It's like if we have a bunch of different cards that are a bunch of different parallels, all those get added together to go into the multiplier. And then the other thing that's incorporated into the multiplier is our current streak. So for every win of a win streak, that's going to add 0.005, so that 0.5% boost. So obviously the more wins we rack up in a row, the better that is for the multiplier. But then every loss in a losing streak is going to take away that same amount, 0.005. So we really don't want to be stacking up losses because that will definitely hurt the multiplier. So that is it when it comes to making stubs in each game. That is all that goes into it. After all those stats and everything we just talked about are taken into account, that's going to give us our final stub count for the game. So then what happens after that? Pretty simply, we buy as many packs as we can with that amount of stubs, and then when we open the packs, anything that's an upgrade will get added to the team. But what happens to the rest of the cards? Well, let me take you on a trip into the newly refurbished stub bank. Any card that we pull from a pack that we don't add to the team will get sold on the market, and the profit we make will be added to the stub bank. So after every game, every pack opening, I'm going to go back, sell every card that we didn't add to the team, and the total that we made will get added to the stub bank, and that will continue to accumulate stubs as we move forward through the episodes. So like if after one game I sell enough cards that gives me 3,000 stubs to the stub bank, that 3,000 stubs is going to sit there, and then if I add another 4,000 after the next game, then our new stub bank total will be up to 7,000, and so on. And then once we get up to enough stubs and I decide I want to spend them, we'll spend those stub bank stubs on packs from the market. It could be special packs, it could just be show packs, whatever, and that will be another way that we can add cards to the team. But before we get into our 10-pack bundle to set our initial team, because that's what we're going to be doing at the end of today's episode, we do have a few more things to go over. Just a couple of rules, just to clarify some maybe points of confusion. And trust me, after as many episodes of Pack Attack that I've done, it's helpful to clear some things up before we get started. So the first rule is the final stub count after each game will be rounded up or rounded down to the nearest pack, because it's very unlikely that the amount of stubs we make after the end of a game will perfectly buy packs. Like, we're gonna have some left over. So if those leftover stubs are over the halfway point to buy another pack, we'll buy another pack. And then the amount of stubs it takes to round up to that pack will be removed from the stub bank. But then if we're under halfway to the next pack, we'll take those leftover stubs and add them to the stub bank. The second rule, if a player gets sold or removed from the roster for any reason, he would need to be pulled again in order to be re-added to the team. Now, I will say this is a rule that we might have to revisit when it comes time to change seasons, and maybe a card or a bunch of cards will no longer be usable. I just don't know how that's going to work yet. Rule number 3 is a big one, and it is a change from last year. So for rule 3, if the opponent quits before 5 innings pitched are completed, a second game will be played in the episode. If the total number of innings pitched between the 2 games is 9 innings or less, all the stats from both games will be counted. If the total number of innings pitched is over 9 innings, only the game that earns the most stubs from the hitting and pitching categories will be counted. So whichever of the 2 games that earn the most stubs, that will be the one that we count. But all stubs earned from the bonus category will be counted regardless. So like if we win both games, both those wins count. And then rule number 4 goes back to no-hitters in perfect games. For no-hitters in perfect games to count, if the opponent quits before the full 9 innings are played, at least 7 innings pitched must be completed for it to count. So like if we have a no-hitter going through 4 innings and the opponent quits, we can't count that as a no-hitter. Like I feel like if somebody's getting no-hit, a lot of people are going to quit before the game is finished. So we kind of have to find that middle ground for us to have pitched at least enough for it to be legit, but also account for the fact that people are probably going to quit early. So we have to have pitched at least 7 full innings before the quit happens. Rule number 5 is also a pretty big one. Free packs or packs that contain primarily unsellable items cannot be opened to upgrade the team. So a good example of this is what's in the shop right now. The free Derek Jeter, can't get them. The Jumpstart pack, can't get it because the items cannot be sold. And then the final rule is that cards pulled from packs purchased using stubs from the bank that don't get added to the team cannot be sold to add more stubs to the bank. So once the stub bank stubs are spent, they're gone. So it's not like post-game packs. If we buy a 10-pack bundle from the stub bank, we're not going to go and sell all of the cards that we don't add for stub bank stubs. Like if we spend stub bank stubs on a 10-pack bundle, those stubs are gone, and we just have to hope we pull somebody good. So that's all the rules out of the way. That's how Pack Attack is going to work. I always feel like I over-explain it every year. You guys will probably get it. It's not that difficult. I do have the team customized a little bit. I've made some uniforms, at least to start. I don't have a logo, but I kind of went with a different orange. I feel like last year we did that kind of burnt dark orange. I went with a bright orange this year. And then those home jerseys, I don't know what I was feeling there, but I was kind of feeling some white on orange action there on those home jerseys. So hopefully you guys don't think they're too ugly. If you do, let me know. Maybe I can change it. And then, you know, we can't start Pack Attack without a home field. So this is Pack Attack Park 3. And honestly, I think this might be the best Pack Attack park yet. We've got 3 levels of seating behind home plate. It comes around to right field here. In left field, it stops partway down the line. We got a nice little deck here for right down that left field line. Outfield seats here in left field with some concessions behind. And then this, man, I really think this looks good here out in right field. We got a little grassy park area. The only thing I don't like though is sometimes Created Stadium is weird and it doesn't let you like put things close to the wall. So we have that weird looking concrete area right next to the grass and you can see it through the walls. But also let's talk about what really matters, and that's the dimensions. I kind of wanted to go with something a little different this year. Last year I had a really deep right field wall and a really shallow left field wall. I kind of wanted a shallow wall down the line on both sides, but I also wanted it to get plenty deeper pretty quick, and I found this dimension to be pretty good. So let's see if I can actually look at it here without ruining things. So down the left field line, it's 330 right down the line, so pretty shallow, but not like, you know, ridiculously shallow. But then it juts out to 366 right away. Then it's pretty much a straight shot to center field, which straightaway center is 400. It does get a little bit deeper towards those corners there in right and left center. And then in right field, it's 325 right down the line, and it stays pretty shallow for a little bit there, going out to 330 after about, you know, 20 feet or so. But then it juts out. There's that little area there straightaway left that goes all the way back to 371, but then it comes back in to 363 in the gap, and then it's pretty straight out there at 403. I like this stadium. I've been playing here on my own a bit. I know that's doing that right now. I don't know why. I just won't save it when we're leaving. But yeah, I really have liked these dimensions as I've been playing here on my own. There's also, finally, we can play online night games at created stadiums, so I've got some lights. I feel like the lighting is a little weird, like in some spots, like right there. These fans are like radioactively glowing here. So I don't know. I mean, at least on the field, the lighting is good. Oh, and I forgot, I did a little bit of a backdrop. I never really worry about the backdrop, but we have a big tower here that you can see when you're hitting with a nice little, I guess, reflecting pool in the middle. Put some buildings going down the street either way. I don't know, man. I really feel like this might be my best created stadium ever. So let's finally get into the most important part of today's episode, which is buying that initial 10-pack bundle to set our team for game 1. So the first game is basically going to be a pack and play. That'll be the next episode. We're going to buy a 10-pack bundle for 15,000 stubs. We'll get that silver topper on top of it. And there we go. Let's see who is going to be the first pack attack team of the year. So let's start. We got 10 packs. Let's get right into it. Let's hope for something good here. We're not, by the way, we're not selling these cards for the stub bank. This is just to set the initial team. And wow, this is just a great pack to start with. A nice 45 overall really sets the tone. All right, second pack. Anything better in this one? At least it's a couple bronzes, 3 bronzes. Chris Taylor might be solid to start. All right, what do we got? Third pack here. I feel like we need a star player, somebody who's gonna hit the ball to start off. And we're not getting it yet, but hey, Gregory Soto, even at a 68 overall, it's nice to have a lefty in that bullpen. We're already getting a duplicate here, Corbin Martin. Fourth pack, still looking for a big hitter, man. What do we got here? A silver, our first silver player. It's gonna be Kike, and then a bunch of commons. Still looking for a big bat, and honestly, a good starting pitcher would be nice for that first game. Another silver, Rhys Hoskins. He could be a decently big bat. All right, past the halfway point here. Our sixth pack is going to give us, oh, 3 commons and a 65. And what happened to Pedro Baez? He's only a 58 now? All right, this will be our 7th pack. We definitely need a starter, a good starting pitcher. That's okay. That's an improvement to what we had so far. And Zunino might be a decent power hitting catcher to start. All right, the 8th pack. What do we got from this one? A gold, our first gold. We're starting with a gold on the first team. Who is it gonna be? Tommy Edman. I feel like you definitely could have better cards, but you know, 99 fielding at short, no arm though, but some speed, a switch hitter, some contact. He might be solid right away. 9th pack, one to go after this one. Another silver, Jake McCarthy, another 99 speed, or wait, no, not another 99 speed. Edman was 99 fielding, but Jake McCarthy could be pretty solid to start. 99 speed, might be able to cheese that. And then the final show pack for this initial team, we're gonna get nothing but a couple more bronzes. Okay, and then our last player, a silver topper to hopefully add one more solid player to this team. What are we looking at here from a silver? It's gonna be Brian Hayes, another 99 fielding. So at least that left side of the infield is gonna be pretty solid. Not gonna have much arm to get the ball over there, but they're gonna stop everything. And there we go. This will be the first iteration of the pack attack squad. This will be who's taking the field in game 1. It is going to upgrade pretty quick, so some of these guys we're not going to see too long. But honestly, I think as far as a 10-pack bundle team goes, this is a decent way to start. Nobody in the starting lineup under a 72 overall. Only 4 bronzes. We got some hitting, we got some fielding, decent amount of speed in a couple places, some power from Zunino and Hoskins. This is who we got for the bench, and I will go back just to make sure. I tried to keep up with who I was getting as I was opening packs to set the team, but just in case I missed anybody, I'll probably go back and check and maybe make some changes. Starting pitching, we didn't really get anything too great here, and let's reorder it to make it look a little better. But Bailey Ober, 75 overall, he'll take the mound in game 1. We do see our first common still on the roster here in the 5th spot. And then in the bullpen, a couple more commons. Definitely not a very reliable looking bullpen. The pitching is definitely going to be the weakness to start. It's going to be very tough to face good lineups with these guys, but you know, maybe if we get lucky and face some players who aren't as good at the game, we can manage. And so there you have it. This is Pack Attack on MLB The Show 23. It took a little bit longer to get started than I wanted to. I wanted to start this maybe a week or two ago, but we're here. We're not waiting until November like last year. I'm really looking forward to this, guys. I'm really excited for Pack Attack, and I hope you guys are too. So before we go, just remember, one last reminder to hit that like button, because every like is going to be worth 100 stubs towards next episode. That'll give us a nice head start on our post-game stubs for our first game. And also, guys, make sure, if you're not already, to go ahead, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss Pack Attack as it comes out throughout the entire year. But that is going to do it for me today, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you in game 1.